How much ground clearance does this have over like a stock, like an XT or a...
With the larger tires, we're up probably 2 inches higher, so I don't know, we're probably like 11 or 12 inches from the bottom to the top.
9.2.
Is that the lowest point? Like,
that would be from the lowest point, the differential.
Yeah.
Or the oil pan or whatever transmission.
Okay. And so how did you guys do this? Did you do it with long travel coilovers?
Stock. 100% stock suspension.
Okay. And then what did you guys do to lift it?
Big strut spacers and then subframe spacers to count for the control arm angle and the CV joint angles.
Okay. And then how tall do you think your strut spacers are?
About 4 inches tall.
Okay.
So that'd be plus the factory lift, which brings us to about 5.
So you got to do the strut spacers, then you've got to put in your front subframe spacers, right? Right here. Now, does anybody make these for this car right now?
Nope, 0.
Yeah, so you guys custom fabricated all this.
Yep. So now we know if someone starts making them, they knocked them off from this video.
We won't put any specs in here. So let's say somebody wanted to lift their car 5 inches, this specific car 5 inches, but they're like, oh, I'm going to do it without subframe spacers. What's going to happen?
You're going to be having problems. CV joints, control arm bushings.
Yeah.
It's just, they can't handle extreme angles.
Yeah, so like right here, this is obviously at full droop, but you know, people can see how much of a angle at full droop you're at on the CVs, even with your spacers. And then, you know, we were talking about like the control arm bushings. What, let's give people like a visual. So like right up in here, if somebody doesn't put this in, they're essentially just going to be pushing that bushing to the max.
Oh yeah, until it just binds up. Either the aluminum hits the mounting locations, or until the bushing entirely rips out.
Yeah.
And you can even see this one's starting to crack a little bit.
Yeah.
Which even stock ones start cracking.
Yeah. I've got a car that was at stock height. It's, oh yeah, you can definitely see that. Yeah, so these are essentially all barely above the angles that they'd be at from the factory, right? Because of your correction here. That's what's up. And then can you talk a little bit about this thing right here?
Yeah, so instead of just dropping it the factory bracket with a spacer, I opted to spend a little more time and just entirely redesign the whole bracket itself. So this is to accommodate the lift and then an entirely new bracket.
And then what is this part right here? So like
rear transmission support bracket. So like our anti-wobble inserts essentially mount right into the factory bushing, which is still there. It's just that we replaced the lower mounting point with a new bracket.
Yeah, the factory version would essentially have the CVT pushed way higher up. And then right here we've got a carrier bearing spacer. What is that, like 2 inches?
About 2 and something. 2 and something.
Do you guys have any wobble at all? Like some of the stuff people complain about?
No.
It's pretty...
Not from the driveline.
Heck yeah. Okay, then we got to talk about the exhaust since we're right here. This is factory from here up, right?
Yep.
And then we've got stuff. Is it from Nameless?
Yeah, shout out to Nameless.
Yeah.
We had originally put it on stock, and then we had some rubbing with the driveline and whatnot, so we pulled it off, and then we were like, oh no, the factory exhaust is not 100% going to mount back up with this lift on it. So we ended up bolting it all back up and then using some come-alongs and things to get it bent to where we needed it, which worked out pretty good.
Can we talk a little bit about like what's going on here?
Yeah, so this pretty much is replacing the factory support bracket. We call it the primary support bracket, which would bolt to the bottom of subframe here and then into the chassis, like right here. But that's only a bracket that's what, maybe 12 inches long.
Okay.
So what I did was I redesigned it to bring it further up the body kind of act as like a rock slider
Okay.
if we were to hit anything.
Yeah.
Instead of having a super short bracket at a really, really steep angle. Now we got a really long bracket with a nice gradual slope. No, so that doesn't help correct the rear geometry. It just helps support the subframe.
I gotcha.
From moving.
And this right here would help correct the rear.
That is correct, yes.
Perfect, I gotcha.
So that's going to correct for all of the geometry and bring it back within spec.
Dude, this is crazy how you got this design. Like, this would not have originally tied all the way back into here, right?
No.
That's that's pretty sick. Okay, and so now we've got, like, these are what people would be familiar with as, like, multi-link spacers.
Yep.
Back
just
up
a
here.
bigger, beefier version.
Yeah, what is that, 4 something?
5 something, yeah.
It's closer. Yeah, 5.
Oh, so about the same as the front.
Yeah, because we
strut.
pulled a factory spacer, and the factory spacer is about 1 1/4.
Okay.
And then, yeah, just some other little support brackets for the factory stuff, just to get it back in the spec. And
Yeah.
then Subaru did a really terrible job on designing the rear sway bar
Don't sue us.
mounting point, right? So we've actually had to gone through 2 different versions. The first ones, we had some guys snapping them off. That would mount right here. And that was with the white line sway bar. The white line sway bar was pulling so much tension on this factory bracket, it just snap them right off.
Kidding.
So we had to redesign it. Obviously, probably twice as thick as the factory bracket. And we have not had any problems with those. And I think this is only a 19.
Okay.
So thicker, stronger, but you're pulling more tension on brackets that obviously aren't designed to be pulled on that hard.
Yeah, no kidding. Holy shit. And then what do we have as far as, like, the rear part of the exhaust? So
It's all nameless.
Like 3.
I think that's a 3. Yeah.
Okay, like a 3-inch cat back.
Mm-hmm.
Dual exit. And then you guys said you were going to be changing these out.
Correct. Yeah. Nameless recently, I don't know how long ago, they came out with a new muffler design.
A no drone muffler.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just essentially it's the same exact one that's on it. It's just got an extra can on it that helps the reverberation.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we'll bolt that up, and we might have to tweak a few things, but we'll get her to work.
So the way it is, it still travels up into the cabin pretty.
Yeah, that kid back there.
Yeah. And then people always want to see tires. So these are the Patagonias. I run the MTs, but this is the AT Pro.
This is their new AT Pro. I think they just finally fully released them earlier this year. Sorry, I guess it would be earlier last year. Now,
23.
Yeah, 23. And slowly but surely, they actually are getting more sizes and actually keeping them in stock. So far, these tires have been awesome.
Yeah, this tire looks like it's got a bunch of good siping.
Running real quiet on the road. Real smooth. Good traction.
And then you were saying these are about 30.5 inches overall diameter.
Yeah, they're at 265, 65, 17.
When we were originally looking for wheels for this, of course, we didn't want to run anything that everybody else was running. And so we got onto Method's website and we're like, okay, Subaru shares the same bolt pattern as a lot of the Jeeps now.
Yeah.
And so we technically can run a Jeep wheel, but the problem is a lot of Jeep wheels are 0 offset from the start. These ones somehow were plus 30.
I want to say they're 28, plus 28, and then...
That's not bad at all.
And we added, what, 10 mils?
20 mils.
20 mils.
Threw some spacers on the back? Yeah.
Front and rear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Machine. Hub-centric.
Nice.
To the wheel and the hub.
Did you guys make them?
No.
Okay.
That was Motors Borla.
Oh.
Yeah.
They do spacers?
Borla. There's 2. I think it's Borla.
Oh, okay. Borla makes all the exhaust.
Borla makes exhaust, yeah.
Oh, so it's a different company?
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
So currently it's a Rhino rack. I don't even remember what model it is, but we kept getting phone calls about people wanting wind fairings for them because on the front, evidently these things howl like crazy.
Yeah.
So
Good idea.
we ordered one. Yeah, and of course ran it around without the wind fairing, and then we spent some time designing a whole new wind fairing for it.
Yeah, so you made the fairing.
Exactly.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, so we designed a whole wind fairing for it. Yeah, we sell them tons of them. Yeah, it cuts the noise down for probably 70-80%, if not more.
Okay.
It's pretty ridiculous on how loud those are. Another brand was Front Runner, but their rack stuck up like another 3 inches.
Okay.
I personally like the Low Pros.
I agree.
Less drag, you're going to save your mileage.
Heck yeah.
Eventually, we'll probably do some cool light bar mounts in there. Eventually.
Yeah, and I like that style of rack. You just get a lot more
Mm-hmm.
options for mounting different stuff. Yeah, 100%. Put gun racks up. Just kidding. Have you guys? What's your guys' opinion overall as far as like the Wilderness Edition goes for like an off-road vehicle? Is it? Do you think it's like a good platform people should start with? Or you think they'd be better off running something like just going with a premium? Or
The only downside to a lot of the newer stuff is the CVT transmission.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. That's a lot of guys go
Pretty much the downside.
Yeah.
yeah,
If like
The
we've
Wilderness
got a-
Edition doesn't really have much more of a capability than a
Yeah.
normal Outback.
except the gear ratios. The gear ratio
Yes.
is lower. So 444 is the ratio. Kind of
Okay.
like the old Foresters.
that's what I've got.
Yeah.
The 444s. Do you feel like I know there's like a dual mode, X mode or something. Has it really done a lot for you guys when you've taken it places? Or
I've had this stuck 3 or 4 times to where it wouldn't turn the tires. And
Okay.
the gearing did nothing, and
Yeah.
the modes did nothing.
Okay.
It's like had so much traction, it was just stalling out.
Oh, I gotcha.
And that's probably all over forums and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have issues with them just not
Yeah.
wanting to move under their own power.
Yeah, I've run into that. If you don't have a transfer case, it's like, what are you gonna?
Yeah, exactly.
gonna do?
A lot of it's most likely it's probably a fail-safe for the CVT transmission, so you don't just sit there and burn them up.
Yeah, because people will do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think there's anything people should do or could do to prolong the life of their CVT if they're wanting to go off road? Or
Cooler. Yeah. I don't know. Subaru likes to void that warranty.
With a cooler?
If you put your own factory or an aftermarket
Yeah.
cooler on it. I've heard horror stories there. But the thing is, more fluid capacity, the colder the CVT fluid, it's going to last longer.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with your motor oil. Just like some of the older XTs where they had a factory oil cooler on them. And I can't remember. Does this one got an oil cooler on it? I don't know. I'd have to pop the hood and see. And there's going to be a new product hitting the market here pretty soon.
I've heard all about it. Do you want to tell people what it is?
We'll wait.
So people will have to stay tuned and
I'll
figure
give
out
you
what
first dibs though when it comes
Sick. Give me a rev real quick.